Please welcome John Sexton, President Emeritus of New York University, and Nicholas Logothetis, co-founder and chairman of the board of Concordia. Nick?
Thank you, Kevin. You're doing a great job. So thank you so much for being the host for this. And it's my pleasure to be back. I'm Nick Logothetis. I'm the co-founder and chairman of Concordia. And it's my honor to be here with John Sexton, who is the President Emeritus of New York University and one of this country's leading academics and scholars. And as I've learned in the past 15 minutes, just a very nice guy. So we're going to start with COVID and its impact on education. And John was telling me that when we were chatting in the green room, as we call it, that he's still teaching every day. And I guess as we don't have a lot of time, I'll just keep these questions brief. John, can you tell us a little bit about, the current status of how COVID is affecting higher education, and NYU in particular, and what the sort of prognosis is in the short to medium term for, I guess, this academic year?
Well, the impact is dramatic, quite dramatic. This is my 60th year of teaching, and it's the first time that I've integrated technology aggressively into my teaching. I'm teaching 3 courses this semester. One of them is in Abu Dhabi, so because of the quarantine rules, I can't do what I usually do, which is fly over for the classes to be in person. So that's completely remote. The other 2 are hybrid. So, for example, a class that I have that has 90 students in it has 30 students in the classroom. They rotate through one-third, and the others are present in hybrid. And I have to say this, and I'll start with NYU Law School, then go NYU, then broader in education. The effort that I have seen my colleagues, and in particular, I'm talking about my colleagues at the law school, although I also teach undergraduate, but the effort that I've seen put into trying to deliver a quality education to our students and community to them, a real sense of community. These are, of course, advanced students. They're all in law school, was inspiring. We're talking about a faculty of nearly 100 people meeting almost every week over the summer to exchange ideas, develop plans, and so forth. And I say that at the law school, there's a real sense of satisfaction about how it's going. At NYU as a whole, there's been a similar effort. We decided that we would try to give as much in-person instruction as possible. Not everybody made that choice. And making it in New York City was not easy, and making it at the largest private university in the world was not easy. But the administration, led by the president and the provost, have done a remarkable job. And as I walk through the park, always masked, of course, I see students behaving responsibly, and it's different. But here's my take on it at NYU, and then I'll say something a bit more broadly. And I'll use a student that's attending a different college, my oldest granddaughter, who is going off for her freshman year of college this year. Well, it turned out she wasn't going off. She was willing to go, but her school decided that freshmen shouldn't come, a decision that I think I would have made had I been in their place. And I said to her, Julia, you should take this as a learning opportunity. And that's what I've said to my law students and to my undergraduate students at NYU. You're in a situation which we hope and pray will be unique. And one of the things education tries to teach you is how to be creative and adaptive, and not everything should be a wide highway for you. And this is going to be very, very challenging, especially meeting new friends. But darn it, it's a learning opportunity that's unique. And so there was no discussion in our house about deferring for an ordinary education. The point was that you could take this on. The higher education the 5,000 schools in the United States are very, very different from each other, and different decisions have been made. I've been generally impressed with the huge amount of effort that's been going in and the primacy of student and faculty and staff safety. And I think we're going to come out of it armed with weapons. I certainly will not teach my class exactly the same way going forward. I'm not going to teach remotely. My best teaching is done in person, but I'm going to use remote sessions. For example, I was able to have with the 90 students a 10-minute introductory chat with each of them from my home, but every single one of them showed up and we had 10 minutes together, and that would have been a lot harder to do if I'd had to sit in my office for 25 hours. We're sitting at home, breaking it up bit by bit. So there are loads of things that are going to come out of this that are going to be good. And we're going to get past it. Higher education will get past it. And I'm very impressed with the efforts that have been being put into it.
So you think that, and that was my next question, that there will be lasting change when, we all hope, who knows when, but that this pandemic subsides, that there's a vaccine, that, we go back to some semblance of normalcy. You think that, like companies telling employees that they can work at home if they want to, even when it's not a pandemic, you think that you and others will make use of virtual learning? And how does that sort of fit in with your you were one of your sort of most well-known activities has been to set up NYU as the global university with campuses around the world. How does that fit into a more virtual world?
So technology and the integration of technology is going to be one of the great challenges and opportunities over these next decades. And 10, 15 years from now, the 5,000 schools will not look like those 5,000 schools look today. And a great number of them will have disappeared. And a great many I'm chairman of the board of a university called the University of the People, which is an accredited American university completely online that is now delivering a quality higher education, never in classes of more than to over 40,000 students in 200 countries in refugee camps and things like that. That would have been impossible without the technology, and that's going to expand. That's all volunteer driven now. That education is free and it's for poor people, and it gives them an opportunity to display their talents so that places like NYU Abu Dhabi can bring them in as students. At the high end, the most advanced end, like the NYU's Global Network University, technology has another tremendous advantage, because imagine that now that faculty have learned to use this, the faculty of NYU will be able to teach simultaneously using the technology we're using for this conference, and teach, and not only as I did, flying over to Abu Dhabi and then to Shanghai. Those are the three main campuses: New York, Abu Dhabi, and Shanghai. But there could be students in the 12 study away sites where typically they go for a semester that are taking a course with students at the 14 other sites. And that's a richer course. Imagine a course, for example, on cities that has students in 15 different cities. And so we're going to come out of this in a very different modality, I think, at every level of higher education. And the key is going to be how we use technology to improve the great experience that American university students typically have gotten. How do we make that even better? Not how do we cling to the past, but how do we make the past still better? And then simultaneously, how do we use technology to search for hidden talent? The great lesson of the global network, and NYU Abu Dhabi in particular, and the University of the People as a companion device, has been, we find talent which otherwise would have had no opportunity to show itself. And you find it through technology. It becomes a search engine. And then for those for whom a traditional education or something more like a traditional education is right, you bring them into the system with of course, the financial aid that's necessary to allow them to come. Because if they're coming out of the mountains of Afghanistan or a refugee camp, they have to be given full scholarships.
Got it. Yeah, no, it certainly provides a lot of opportunities. And one thing I think that, this COVID experience for all of us has taught us to always be, look for the silver linings in all this. And so hopefully we can get this under control and move forward to the benefits of it. I want to sort of switch gears a little bit in the couple of minutes that we have left and ask you to put on your law professor hat. And this is, I'm sort of indulging myself a little bit here. I want to talk to you about the U.S. election without getting into the politics of it. Just, I think there's an open question both on the Democratic and Republican sides. Again, without getting into the politics of it, of do you accept the election results if it is a close race? If it is not a close race and it's a blowout for either party, then I think it's fine. But do you foresee a situation where after the election is held, there's some form of constitutional crisis in the United States that would be unprecedented? I think the closest one that, at least in my lifetime, was in 2000. But what would that look like? How would it get solved? And is it something that we should be afraid of?
Well, I think you'd have to be Pollyanna not to worry that there might be a constitutional crisis. And I won't get into the politics, but there has been, let's face it, well, I'll say it only as my opinion. I'm not going to state it as truth, even though I think the evidence is overwhelming that there's been an erosion of norms. The normal kind of rules of the game. Some people would say disruption is good, but disruption of the basic norms of our constitutional governance and the rule of law is not, unless one wants to come forward and say he or she is an anarchist. I think virtually everybody would accept that. The people at the Supreme Court, where ultimately any crisis would go, are people who, by and large, I know. There are two that I don't know, but there are some that with whom I went to school and that I would consider friends. And I think across the ideological spectrum, the people that I know, the six that I know, are respectful of those norms. And I have a high degree of confidence in their ability to bring us through any episodes that might occur if people are acting outside the boundaries of the traditional norms. You could look at 2000 that you bring up, and in some ways, it was a great success. The court made a 5-4 decision. It's not important whether I agree with it or don't agree with it, but I can tell you that there were principled people. I won't say every single one of the 9 I could vouch for, but I could vouch for at least 2 on each side of that opinion who were acting nobly and within the boundaries of law. And of course, the decision was accepted once made, which is very much within the norms by the party that lost. And that was very, very important. I think the moral authority of the court is strong across the vast majority of American society. And I think if it were to come to a constitutional crisis, we might have to wait some time if it's razor close, as you asked the hypothetical, as we did in 2000. But I feel reasonably confident it would come out well.
Well, that's very good to hear. So, have faith in the institutions, have faith in the, obviously I don't know any of the 8 Supreme Court members now, but I'm glad you do and that you have confidence in them. We'll see what happens in November. And thank you again for joining us. I hope the audience found it interesting. I certainly did. And we hope to see you in person next year in a very different setting. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick. I look forward to it. And stay safe.
Thank you. You too.